What's up YouTube, Zero here, and today I'm going to be going over an amazing level 15 hunter build in Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning. That's right, it is a hunter build. We are focusing solely on the Finesse tree. But before we get into it, I do want to say that if you do enjoy this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more Kingdoms of Amalur content. I also do a bunch of other video games, so check those out as well. It does really help out me and my channel, and I do really thank you and appreciate it in advance. Well, it looks like we're about to finish up this Jotun warrior that's attacking me, so without further ado, let's get into the build. Now, I mentioned it earlier, we are going into the Hunter Destiny. We are actually on this build. We have 48 points invested. We are just 1 point away from the next Destiny, but it is what it is. So we are a Hunter. We have plus 15% ranged attack damage, plus 40% damage resistance while dodging, plus 5% chance to critical hit, and plus 10% piercing damage. Now we're going to see in a second, we are really focused on doing that damage over time. So the first things first, precision weaponry. We unlock a charged attack for our Feyblades. Then we're going to go into Feyblades, just making them more powerful. I prefer using them over the daggers on this build. You can really choose either one though. Then I go into Shadow Flare, which is definitely an amazing move. You toss out some smoke, then toss out some blades, and do a bunch of piercing and bleeding damage, which is going to be very important for this build. Now next, we are going into Envenomed Edge. I talked about that damage over time earlier. 15% chance per hit to deal 60 poison damage over 5 seconds. Now this is a sustained 25% mana cost. And then I have Frost Trap, which is going to deal some frost damage and some freezing damage over 5 seconds. These are definitely awesome, and I'll talk about them in a little. Icy Explosion, which is upgrading our Frost Trap, making it even more deadly. Then we are going to get poison resistance, have a little bit of defense, extra defensive resistance on our side is never a bad thing. Then longbow mastery and draw power, just using these to get to the next two abilities. Arrow Storm, where I am raining down a storm of arrows on my enemies, definitely an awesome thing to have. And barbed arrows. Each arrow has a 20% chance to cause 120 bleeding damage over 5 seconds. Definitely very important for this build. And now Enduring Agony increases bleeding and poison effects by 70% and Shadow Flare damage by 50%. So as you can see, there is a pretty big theme on this build. I am trying to deal that damage over time. I'm trying to deal bleeding damage. I am trying to deal poison damage. So I'm going to use a combination of my Feyblades and my bow and arrow to deal that bleeding and poison damage. So that's where Enduring Agony comes in. It is one of the main abilities on this build. I love Enduring Agony because it's helping out my Shadow Flare. It's helping out my bow and arrow. It's helping both of those deal extra bleeding damage over time. Then we have Envenomed Edge, where when we are hitting enemies, we have that chance to poison, and it's going to help out that as well. So I can poison enemies, I can deal bleeding damage, and all that damage over time is vastly going to add up on my opponents so I can kill them quicker. Now the Frost Traps are just really helping me out. When I get into groups of enemies or enemies are attacking me, I'm going to be able to lay one down like I did there, slow the enemy down, and also deal some damage to them. Now as you can see in a second, I'm only facing one spider, and then I turn around and yeah, there are a lot more spiders. Thank God I have that poison resistance though, so when they do attack me with their poison, I'm going to be able to resist it, or vastly resist it, and then I'm going to be laying down traps, and I'm going to be slowing them down. Why is this important? It's a group of enemies, and I want to slow down as many as possible while also dealing damage. You can see that my Frost Traps are actually hitting a bunch of enemies that are coming near it. Then we talked about that volley of arrows. As you saw there, just laid down the volley of arrows on all of those spiders. And I think I got bleeding damage on 1 or 2 of them, which is definitely nice. Again, I'm dealing with a horde of enemies. I want to get as much bleeding and poison damage on as many enemies as possible so I can whittle them down as quickly as possible. There's my Shadow Flare, again dealing that extra damage. We can see those numbers coming off of these spiders, slowly but surely, definitely whittling down their health, and I am attacking them with my Fey Blades, doing a little circular motion that I love to do. That's why I love using the Fey Blades, definitely an awesome thing. And then again, laying down that trap so I can slow down enemies or kill them where possible. So all of these combinations really work well with each other. Some of you are going to be asking, well, why not use the Assassinate ability? We're a hunter, we're an assassin, why are we not using that? Well, I just think there are some enemies that I have come up on that I just really haven't done much with the Assassinate ability to, and I feel like I can kill enemies faster not using that. Why sneak up on enemies when I can just lay down traps, hit them with a bow and arrow, and then have them run towards me, run over my traps, and take that damage instead. I prefer doing that, especially because my bow and arrow can deal that bleeding damage, and then my frost traps are going to slow down the enemy. There's some enemies you can't kill with the Assassinate, so I just prefer leading these enemies to their death by causing bleeding, poison, and dealing the traps. So, we are coming down to the end of this video, but let me know what you think of this build. Have you used it? And if you have, do you enjoy using it? Do you think in the Finesse tree we should pass up the Assassinate ability, or do you enjoy using it? I prefer passing it up, but that's just me. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. Until next time, peace.